Thank you sincerely from the bottom of my heart, as does my co-author Dorsey over here, for coming out here this evening and supporting this event. We are so pleased that you came. I also want to make a specific announcement. Dorsey describes our relationship as Penn and Teller. And if you're familiar with them, you'll see why I'm doing all the talking and she's over there not saying anything. So, but I don't mind speaking, and if I start to get too quiet, just give me the cue to speak up. But we wanted to thank you for coming out tonight. When we did this, we kind of had, it says on our cover, we wanted to help people discover their greatness. But you know, more recently, in the news, we have seen that people are struggling with more than just finding their greatness. They're struggling with their demons, where we have mass shootings happening on a frequent basis now. So we thought a larger cause on this book, because we can help people discover their greatness, but there's a larger cause here that maybe if somebody could understand how to coordinate with their demons a little bit better and not let them take other people's lives, their lives, then I don't know. If they read the book, I don't know if it's that powerful or not, but we think so. We're biased, but we think so. It's a great book. And we just wanted to get the message out. We talked a lot about what we were going to talk about this evening, because we have a lot of things to say. And believe me, I could get up here and stand until you got tired and left. But I'm not going to do that tonight. I'm going to tell you the why for why we did this book. And it really started with my son. Dorsey's a piano teacher. I'm a martial arts instructor. We both teach, and she had started Calvin with the piano. He was taking lessons for about a year. And there was one day he was home practicing, and he was playing the piano, and he's actually quite good at it. I don't know where he got it from, but he's actually quite good at it. So he was playing this part of this song, and then he was skipping over the middle, and then he was playing the end of this song. And his mother came in and said, "Calvin, I want you to practice this middle part of the song." And he said, "Okay." And she left the room, and guess what he did? So you already know he didn't practice the song, right? So he did the beginning again, and then he did the end. So I went over to him, I said, "Hey, what did Mommy tell you to do?" "Well, she told me to practice the piano." I said, No, more specifically than that. What did she tell you to do?" And he said, "Well, I'm practicing the song right here." I said, No, son, I was present, I heard it. What did she tell you to do?" "Well, she told me to practice this part of the song." I said, "Well, why aren't you doing it?" He said, "Well, it's hard." I said, "Okay, how many times do you think it would take you to do it sincerely and earnestly to where it started to feel like the rest of the song?" And he said, "I don't know, maybe 10 times. I said, "Great, hold on." And I went and got a piece of paper and a Sharpie, and I started drawing 10 circles. And he said, "Daddy, maybe 3 times. I said, "No, too late. You already said 10. So I started drawing the circles. And I told him, I said, "For every time that you sincerely, earnestly practice that part of the song, I'm going to color in one of these circles. But here's what I want you to understand." I said, "We all have a difficulty demon that lives in our head, and his only job is to keep you from being great. So there's no way you will get all 10 circles filled. It's not going to happen." So he looked at me, said, "Okay." So he started playing the first, just a couple of measures, just the middle part of the song. He started playing it, and he worked through it, and I don't know if it was worse for him or for me, but he got through it. Right? So he looked up at me with a sense of accomplishment. I said, "So what? That's 10%. Your demon's not worried." So he did it again. He filled it, he got to the measures, and I filled in another circle. He looked at me. I said, 20%, he doesn't care. He did it a third time. He looked at me. He didn't even look. He just waited and he did it again. Now, 2 things happened on the 4th time. The first thing was, on his 4th time, it was significantly better. Forget 10 times. Already after 3 times of practicing it, the 4th time was significantly better. The second thing that happened was I realized I now have to be his demon for him. I have to discourage him, because the demon's greatest gift is to be silent and make us think that those are our thoughts to discourage us. So I said, "Okay, son, you've done 40%. You now have your demon's attention." So he got down, he started to do the 5th circle. And I said, "Okay, good job. That sounds a lot better. You can quit." He said, "Oh, that's a trick." I said, "That's right." So he sat down, he said, "We did it 6th time. So then I had to get louder. I said, "Son, just stop. Just quit. You're done. You got it. That's already better. Go play. Go do something else." He ignored me. He did a 7th measure. And I said, "Okay, he's getting good, son. I need to discourage him more." So I started getting louder. "Son, stop it. Quit. Get out of the way. You don't need to finish that." He started doing his 8th circle. I said, "Son, that's 80%. Just get out of the way. You don't need to do any more. You're done. Forget it." He started to do his 9th circle. By now, my daughter's coming to the top of the stairs. He goes, Mommy, I think Daddy's mad at Calvin. But we didn't even let it register. So now he gets to his 9th circle. Now the neighbors, I'm sure, are wondering what is going on over there, because I am hollering at him, I'm discouraging him. I'm down on his level. I'm telling him, just quit, just give up. And then he finally got through his 10th time. And it was silence. He looked up at me, and he had a tear running down his cheek, and I said, oh man, there went the Father of the Year award, right? I said, I pushed him too hard, but then he settled my heart, because he looked up at me, he had that tear running down, he said, Daddy, can we do that again? I was like, shoo, all right, good. But the point was, I made those demons in his head real for him that day. He was 9 years old at the time. But more importantly, I made that demon real for me that day. I was 40. Well, I was over 40 at that time. And so I realized that we were onto something. So I told Dorsey about it. She started experimenting it in some of her piano classes. I started experimenting it with some of my martial arts classes. And it was working. We were reaching the kids. We were letting the kids see that they can persevere and get through it. And then so we knew we were onto something. So we had to do it. Now I just asked Calvin, just because he's been playing for what, 3.5, 4 years? I just asked him if he would play something tonight to see how his 10 circles is going. So he's going to play now. Well, I thought he was here. Where's he at? He's right there. Over here and play. He's going to play one song. He's going to play Canon D here very quickly, but then, I'm sorry, I still have a little bit more to say. So he's going to play that now. Hopefully it's loud enough. My ability is slightly less than that. But that is what he did. He recognized I can fight him through those 10 circles. So we are very pleased to see that progress in him. But here's what I realized. We may not all play the piano. We may not all do martial arts. But we all have things that are important to us in our lives. We have divorce rates that are off the charts. We have financial debt that's off the charts. We have several different demons that are in our life where if we focused and filled in the 10 circles and understood that we can bring a piece of ourselves to the table, maybe we can have better success in these areas. Dorsey said one time, she kind of talked about these books that say, 7 steps to happiness or 7 steps to financial wealth. And she kind of scuffed them off. And I said, no, the steps are fine. The problem is we take ourselves on every step. That's the problem. I said our success in those 7 steps will be the external representation of the intrinsic relationship that we have with our own demons. So if we can focus on that and make ourselves better in it, then we can propel ourselves towards greatness in whatever it is that we do. Because our book, it's an analogy of a hallway. The hallway just represents life. We're birthed in the hall. At the end of the hall, we die. Sometimes we get scared to open the doors on the sides, which represent our demons. So we walk through the hall like this. No, I don't want to do that because I don't know what's behind there and I'm afraid and I'm not sure. And we arrive to the end of the hall only to realize we turn around, look, all we've done is safely arrive at death. And that's not a life. So our book challenges us to open those doors. We get to benefit from the character and the lessons that they learn and the tool takeaways that they have, and we get to apply that to ourselves. So we talk about how we weren't the ones that wrote this book. We collaborated, but like the book says, there's the blue note in between. The blue note, that area that happens between the vibration of two different notes. The blue note doesn't exist, but you still hear it. That's who wrote this book. I don't take credit for it. Dorsey doesn't take credit for it. But we're pleased to be representing it. So we're very glad to be here today with you to share in this experience. And I have to say, please, for Dorsey, when I talked to her about this idea, she didn't laugh at me. She didn't say, no, it's a terrible idea. She jumped on board, and it's been an arduous process, but I've appreciated her wisdom, her experience, her tutelage, her knowledge, and all of her support through this. So could we please give her a hand, please? Also, I have to say, I brought some up here just to show you. I'm not lying. I've written some other books before. And I've written, and my wife has not read 3 words between any of them. Right? But she has read this entire book. She was part of the control group to read it and give feedback and analysis. And she loved it. And I promise you, some of you married people will know, she is my worst critic. So she was going to call me out on anything. No, that's terrible. No. But with love. but I appreciated her support through the whole thing as well. And some of you've got some books already. That's great. If you didn't hear, please get one. We're going to sign. We're going to sit down now and sign it. I hope that we stretched them on their capacity to serve tonight. And I apologize if things have been slow. Please try to be a little bit patient because they were like, you're up to what number now? Well, I'm sorry. And they at least accommodate and try to get the buffet, so they should be able to help sign that out when you pay. If not, let me know. But just be patient with that. But I just want to say that my business partner and friend, Ruben West, called me yesterday. He got a copy early because he's not in town. He's watching? He said, hey, Ruben. He's watching now online, but he got it, and he called me yesterday. He said, hey, I just got through chapter 4. He told me he was reading some of it. He said, I just got through chapter 4. I had to talk to you about it. Now, I'm not going to tell you what he said because I don't want to spoil it. But my point in that is that this is a book that you want to read with somebody. So we did do a 2-book special. We want to challenge you to find somebody that you can give it to, and that person should either A, have some significant demons that you might be able to help them with, or B, be that person that you really want to have those conversations with. So if you want to get the 2-book special, they've got them there. But we want to get an opportunity to sign them, hang out. We're going to let you continue to socialize, eat, drink, get some books, more books here if you want. But again, I want to thank you sincerely for coming out this evening because we have talked about it. We want to make a shift in people's mindsets. We believe we've got a key that does it. And when it happens, you know what? Shift happens. And that's what we want, right? So thank you guys again for coming out. I appreciate it. He was nervous too, and he doesn't get nervous. So good job on that, making him nervous. I love it.